I think I'm about as big as it gets when it comes to being a Magic the Gathering fan. Heck, look at this YouTube channel and everything around me. But buying a booster box for more than the average cost of a house in the United States, this makes me start to question my love for TCGs. Let's talk about this insane sale listing, what it means about the past and future of Magic, and yes, we're going to talk about is it worth it, and then finally, we're going to touch on how regular people, yeah, people just like you and me in their basement, are trying to capture a bit of that TCG financial magic today. Vintage Magic has always been something that's extremely exciting. Whether it's cards from when you started playing the game, old boxes dating back to, Mirrodin Onslaught era, or the very beginnings of Magic the Gathering with things like Arabian Knights and, yes, the reserved list. This has been something that's captured the hearts, minds, and the wallets of our community for a long time now. But it's rare that we see something like we saw on the Magic the Gathering Marketplace Facebook group. It appears that there is an Arabian Knights sealed booster box for sale, and that sale is going off at, well, it's being asked for $350,000 currently. And when you see a number like that attached to a trading card game, you start to wonder, how are some of these prices justified? Can people be paying these things for trading card games? Why are they? And does it explain some of the behaviors we see in the TCG space today? I want to talk about all of that today, but most importantly, if you like content like this, we passed 7K, we're on to 7250, hit that sub button, like and share the video. But without further ado, it's a $350,000 sale, so you know we have to talk about it. And I shouldn't say sale, it is a perspective sale. That is what is being asked for the box, and prices are open to negotiation. So don't view this as, hey, this product sold for this. This is a financial analysis. None of this is financial advice, and none of it's real analysis. But it does spark a question in my mind. Can a Magic the Gathering box or product or anything really be worth that much money? And to analyze this, we have to look at some of the highest end and biggest sales we have seen and talk about why they are happening. And when it comes to big sales in Magic the Gathering, look no further than things like the Black Lotus. The Black Lotus constantly sells in the secondary market and pulls in a ton of money. Sales for these cards have been insane, but it's not just old Magic that commands this kind of value. Look no further than the recent sale of the One of One ring purchased by none other than Post Malone. Now, this sale was of a card printed this year in 2023, 30 years after the sale that we're talking about today, or the prospective sale of the box that we're talking about today. You get it. It's 30 years ago that this box was packaged and this sale was made. I don't know how to express that any differently, but thus here we are. But the important statement here is that yes, people clearly will spend a ton of money on their hobby. So it's not insane to say that this sealed box from however long ago, 30 years, could be worth this amount of money to somebody out there. And I know people think that that's insane, but that's part of the magic of sealed product and these old sealed boxes. The fact that Magic the Gathering was different back then. Wizards of the Coast, while they printed a ton of boxes, weren't the company and the conglomerate they were now. Magic wasn't as widespread as we find it today, and because of this, boxes weren't on shelves like this. People didn't collect sealed product. People just bought the boxes, played the game, and it made the opportunity to own some of these early Magic sets. In fact, I think Arabian Knights is lauded as the first ever expansion set for real. What that means in today's day and age and context doesn't matter, but it's important to say, like, this sealed box is rare, and we have a history that things can command this high dollar value. But the question is, should they? And I often refer to things like the modern game pieces argument, where Magic the Gathering should be affordable and accessible. And, I think to the Commander argument in our table and how we build different power level decks in various budgets to try to be more inclusive in that world. Things like this $350,000 for sale box, or even expensive and mostly unobtainable reserved list for most normal people that enjoy our hobby, feel, let's just call it what it is, they feel wrong. They feel like it goes against everything we've come to know and love with our game. But from a personal standpoint, I'm totally okay with these items existing, and I believe that we all should be. Magic the Gathering can be enjoyed in so many different ways at so many different levels. The cards that are selling for this high price and the products that are selling for that amount of money aren't necessities. They don't need to be in our hands to play Magic the Gathering. We have so many different ways we can play without having those cards. So these sales not only should be okay, but they help our community. They shine a spotlight on things that we otherwise wouldn't have noticed. But most importantly, they prop up and help an end of the community that really keeps us all excited. And we'll talk again about Lord of the Rings here. Some of these booster boxes, just to make an equivalency, right? These old sales and these giant numbers and these crazy collectibles excite our community, even people like me that would never have a chance of owning this. We'll look at, like I said, Lord of the Rings Collector Edition, not the special awesome holiday edition, the original Collector Edition. Those booster boxes commanded a crazy price on the secondary market, and some of them still do, but there was a big argument made that that product was propped up a bit by the idea that there is a one-of-one ring, and it turns out rightfully so. As we mentioned, that ring sold for over $2 million, but realistically, all of us that opened that product had no actual shot of opening that ring, right? It was a 1 in a trillion, 1 in a billion, or whatever it was shot of actually opening that product. And because of that, that should not have factored into our excitement with the set, but it clearly did, and it was clearly something that we love talking about. And heck, if you look on this channel, one of the more viewed videos is when we broke the news about the opening of that one ring. Now, this booster box and other giant reserve list sales are a bit of a larger view of our community, and that capturing that bit of magic, that bit of hype, that bit of excitement. What it does is it shows like, hey, there is opportunity for early stages of this game. There are cool collectibles that are coveted by high-end collectors and people with far more money to spend than we could ever possibly dream of having to spend, speaking for, I guess, just myself. But that does pour a bit of excitement into the community. There's no doom and gloom if this box sells at $340,000. The rest of our community doesn't feel bad about that. In fact, we get a bit excited, and we see that excitement living strong in how we interact with not only Magic the Gathering, but modern TCGs to date. Heck, there's a whole division of MTG hobbyhood, hobbiness, whatever you want to call it, that is based around sealed product investing. And in fact, MTG Finance, as it's been known, has blown up in the last decade, mostly due to the fact that some of this financial magic can be captured if you strike while the iron's hot, if you will, or most of the time just happen to get lucky. Now, that's not why everyone collects sealed boxes. I have said several times on this channel, and if you haven't checked out the video, I'll try to link it here about my theory for sealed product collecting. Some of us just collect just for fun and to collect, and we, one day we'll either keep it or get rid of it, and we don't really know. There's not really a plan that goes into it. There's no big overarching umbrella of finance here. But it does just say that, hey, that community is strong, and because of that, we see regular people trying to capture some of that magic today. So we see that in modern sealed box collecting, people building closets full of sealed boxes that they hope go up in value, but also in the indie trading card game space. Now, for those who don't know, that's kind of how I got my start on YouTube. I was really big into indie trading card games, and to this day, I still like me some Sorcery. I love me some Lorcana. These are products that I will open on the channel and actually offer as box openings to channel members. But people in those communities sometimes buy these products, whether they are the first set ever released, the second set ever released, the first edition of that set, and they put them in that closet for a rainy day, hoping to strike some of this financial magic when it comes to 30 years later and the box is worth just massive amounts of value. We see that all the time in the indie TCG space, and we see people mimicking this behavior with Magic and, like we said, other TCGs. And it just goes to show, when something like this happens, it spreads throughout our community. People are instantly aware of it, and it represents this wonderfully interesting microcosm of how people view Magic the Gathering as not only a game, as not only a collection, but sometimes as this financial vessel. Now, I want to point out that there are some deterrents here, and I believe, and this is where we start to get into my opinion. So if you don't like my opinions, first of all, it's weird that you're here. Second of all, you're probably gonna want to click away right now, even though I know I'm not supposed to say click away in a YouTube video, but like, here we are. I'm about to share an opinion. Oh, watch out. I do believe that this idea of holding on to a single box and being one of the few boxes ever left and catching this massive financial value for something that's sat in your closet for 30 years is not necessarily a concept that works in 2023. I actually don't think we'll ever see something like this with products that we are familiar with releasing ever again. And the reason is that information is just too widespread at this point. There are too many people that are aware of these giant hype moments and these big sales in our space and these wonderfully spun stories of people making millions of dollars off their old cardboard that we might never see a product that ever gets down to its last box. You couple that with the fact that TCGs are so widely available. They're worldwide. They're distributed on the internet. And at this point, it's just so easy to get your hands on some of this stuff that things are going to be printed in a far greater number. And I'm not just talking about Wizards of the Coast printers going burr. This happens across almost all TCGs, and it's just interesting to see like what that will be like in the future. So when it comes to the future of holding on to product and hoping to strike while the iron's hot and having the one thing that fetches this crazy financial value, I don't see that as being a part of our hobby. But I do see revisiting old products, reliving times in our lives. As our community at least my age, and probably most of our age out there, according to some weird YouTube analytics, we are a nostalgic group. We like nostalgia. There's a reason that Hollywood remakes and panders all their movies to us. There's a reason why Wizards of the Coast remasters set after set after set and gives us master products that reprints that are throwbacks to things that we like, because whether we like it or not, or like the practice or not, it does seem to drive us. I think that could be a driving factor in the future of our hobby of TCGs as a whole, but I don't believe that we will ever see anything like this. As for this specific sale of this Arabian Knights box, or prospective sale, or sold, or sale listing, whatever it is, again, remember, I'm not saying that a box sold at this price. I think this is a beautiful thing. Just imagine this piece of Magic history being out there. Someone's gonna own this thing. It would be cool to end up in a museum and be able to check that out, because whether you like it or not, Magic the Gathering at this point is an iconic part of collectibles, of gaming human history, and it's something that has stood the test of time. And this box itself to me feels just like a work of art. It begs the question, how many boxes are out there? And if you're around this long, I guess that would be a really interesting question. How many more boxes like this do you think actually exist in the world today? I think that would be super interesting to find out. But if you don't know, I mean, let me know whatever you think in the comment section below. And if you haven't ever shared a hometown TCG video before, well, there's never been a better time than right now. Share this video on any social media platform, Discord server, Facebook, anything like that, where you think other people might be interested in this conversation or this topic. And listen, if you hit the subscribe button, if you hit the like button, whatever it was, I really appreciate you hanging out today. Until next time, you guys know me. My name is Josh, and I am going to go search through my closet for that Arabian Knights box that is clearly in there. I'll be back. I'll be rich. I'll be back. You know what I'm saying. So, yeah.